All right, guys, you guys know I'm a huge fan of Ondo Finance, and they just had a huge week. What I want to do is go through some of the stuff that Ondo Finance has been doing and what a great week they had. So why don't we dive into this Ondo news? Another big week for digital asset adoption, says Ondo. The SEC weighed tokenized stock trading. Swift announced blockchain infrastructure with major banks, and Robinhood CEO predicted tokenization will reshape local finance. That is a big deal for Ondo Finance, by the way. If you're talking about, if you're shouting out tokenization of global finance, well, Ondo is well shaped to do that. So we had the Robinhood news. We had Circle and Deutsche Börse collaborate to advance stablecoin adoption in Europe. We had the SEC weighing plans to allow blockchain-based stock trading, which, by the way, Ondo just went global with their over 200 tokenized stocks, which are 1-to-1, no AMMs being used. It is straight up the asset price is the asset price. I like that. Securities and Exchange Commission is reportedly developing a plan to allow blockchain registered versions of stocks to trade on cryptocurrency exchanges, making a significant step forward in integrating digital asset technology into traditional markets. Also, Swift announced a blockchain plan at Cbos. And I'll tell you, Ondo is right next to them at Cbos, right next to their booth. Swift is developing its own blockchain to streamline transactions among global banks. That might be bad news for people in the ISO 20022 camp, which, by the way, there's no such thing as a compliant coin. I think we've covered that numerous times. You guys know that's just not a thing, but that's big for Swift. That's maybe not so bullish for all other blockchains, because if they're going to have their own, they don't need you. Bridge launches open issuance stablecoin platform. Bridge, acquired by Stripe in 2024, launched Open Issuance, a platform that allows any business to launch and manage its own stablecoin. Phantom, Native Markets, MetaMask, and Dakota joined as launch partners. I do not like MetaMask. I think you guys know that. If you've watched my channel long enough, you know that I think MetaMask is everything that's wrong with crypto AI or UI, excuse me. But anyway, that's that. But we got way more. I remember them sharing that. We got a partnership with Oasis Pro Markets. Ondo Finance has completed its purchase of Oasis Pro, including its SEC-registered digital assets broker-dealer, alternative trading system, and transfer agent licenses. This provides the Ondo Finance Group with the most comprehensive set of SEC regulations for digital asset services in the United States. So with this acquisition complete, they say, Ondo can now develop regulated markets for tokenized securities, laying the foundation for a new era of blockchain-based financial products for U.S. investors. There it is. There you go. Coming to the U.S. I like to see it. And we've had a lot of good news along the U.S. adoption front, along the U.S. Hey, let's get this stuff on chain. Let's lead the way in innovation. I like to see it. So here's what they all have. This is what Ondo gets. They get an engine for tokenizing real-world assets, a digital asset transfer agent and capitalization management solution, a primary offering marketplace, a multi-asset secondary trading system for public and private tokenized securities, approval to conduct secondary market activities for traditional NMS securities. I'm not sure what that means. Tokenized or traditional OTC, over-the-counter equities, and corporate debt. Expanded coverage for closed-end mutual funds, REITs, structured products, MBS, ABS, and privately placed securities. Now, REITs, those are real estate funds where you have like a fund of a whole bunch, kind of a portfolio. You get a little token or a little share of like a whole big basket of real estate equities. Mutual funds, of course, I think we know what that is. I don't really know what MBS and ABS is, I'll be honest. Shout it out in the chat if you do. Licenses supporting capital markets activities, including private placements, underwriting, and mergers and acquisition advisory. This acquisition enables Ondo to expand across as the tokenization securities market rapidly accelerates, predicted to exceed $18 trillion by 2023. That's a lot, by the way. But they're set up. I mean, this is I'm kind of surprised. Didn't they already have some of this infrastructure? But I guess they just have this because this is SEC registered. So they're already set to go. I mean, this basically, that's the thing. Like, it's not so much the infrastructure, it's the fact that their stuff has already been approved. So they can go to town. So I would expect big things from Ondo in the future, for sure. And like, speaking of, remember how I said that? Fun fact, MasterCard presented right alongside Ondo at Swift SIBO. So it was that, not Swift. Sorry about that. MasterCard presented right now. There we go. MasterCard and Ondo. Last year, we saw MasterCard integrate with OUSG into their multi-token network. Something tells me they've been cooking more since. Oh, by the way, you know, I mean, MasterCard has been making a lot of moves in the crypto space. You know, we've talked about, I know my Algorand fans, we know about the Para wallet, where MasterCard integrated with Para wallet to make Para card, where you can use your crypto wallet basically to pay at MasterCard terminals. Not in the US yet, but very soon, we hope. I think we're waiting for some regulatory clarity. So nice, you know, here they're working with Ondo. I think MasterCard is really trying to integrate with crypto. They're going all in on crypto, which I think is pretty interesting. And then this one I thought was pretty big too. Stable has selected Ondo's USDY as primary collateral for its USST stablecoin. USDY, that's Ondo's stablecoin, by the way. It's a yield coin, you know. USDY, a leading yield coin with 690 million in TVL across 12 blockchains and supported by 100 plus partners, brings tokenization, US securities, and bank deposits into Stable's reserves. I think the yield coin is pretty cool. It's a cool idea, you know. And I don't know if you guys know this, but when the Genius Act passed, the banks were really fighting it, and they really didn't want these tokens to be able to offer you liquidity. Why? Well, because they can't compete. They can't compete with it because they know they've been screwing you for years, and they know if you're able to make yield on stable coins, what do you need them for? You know, the game will be up because people will realize they've been screwing you for years, and they have. It's 100% true. Okay, 100% true. So guess what, though? There's a loophole that basically allows for stablecoin yields anyway. So the banks totally got screwed. Ha, take that. Take that, banks. I love it. I think it's great. Anyway, that's that. And then one more piece of Ondo news that I think is pretty cool. The CFTC just outlined its digital asset priorities. As the Futures and Derivatives Law Report Digital Asset Leadership Summit, that's a lot, CFTC Acting Chairman Caroline Pham outlined a technology-neutral, principles-based approach to digital assets. The agency's three immediate priorities are spot crypto market structure. CFTC is developing a clear trade workflow for spot crypto in listed markets, seeking public feedback to move responsibly but expeditiously. Digital Asset Pilot Program. I like that. A time-bound pilot will test digital asset market structures under defined eligibility criteria, data collection requirements, and risk parameters before broader implementation. So, you know, time-bound, meaning it's going to be a short period of a certain time where they're going to test this stuff out and see if it's ready to go, ready for prime time. I think it will be, by the way. Tokenized Collateral Initiative, the CFTC is actively exploring tokenized collateral, including stablecoins, seeking industry engagement on operational details and risk controls for safe deployment. With clear frameworks, active pilots, and regulatory engagement, the CFTC is paving the way for digital assets to scale responsibly in U.S. markets. This is such a difference from what we had under the last administration. They're actually testing and like making sensible regulations. Imagine that, sensible regulations. That's all anybody in crypto has been asking for. Like, we don't want people to like cheat. We don't want people to, you know, get a free pass. We just want like sensible regulations. What we didn't want was an administration that just brought the hammer down with no regard to whether good or bad things are being happened. We saw Sam Bankman-Fried get a completely free pass on just about everything until finally they came down on him because they had to. But it was really bad. I mean, that was horrible. You know, he was getting like meetings with with Gary Gensler. Well, you know, projects that are actually trying to do the right thing, we're just getting Wells notices and being told to, you know, get lost basically. And we send a lot of stuff overseas where we can't regulate it. It just doesn't make sense. So I like this change of pace. I think Ondo is well placed to benefit from a lot of these new rules because they're specifically focused on kind of bringing TradFi on chain, which is why I like Ondo, which is why I think Ondo is a great chain. And, you know, it's why you should pay attention to it. Just keep an eye on it. Like I've been buying a little Ondo. I definitely got some in my bag. I think it's a great project. So that's what we got to say for Ondo Finance.